Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Father James. I have my Our Lady of Guadalupe coffee mug. Now, it's not an Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish, Dartmouth Parish mug. Maybe someday we'll have a mug like that, but it's kind of generic Our Lady of Guadalupe. If I'm allowed, am I allowed to say that? Anyway, I better take a sip of coffee before I say anything else. Folks, I was not supposed to be here today. I was supposed to be on retreat. Myself and Father Rob were supposed to be on retreat. Our retreat, which had been rescheduled from the end of April and first week of May. The annual priest retreat was rescheduled to this week, but once again, because the lockdown was pushed forward, we had to cancel again. And believe it or not, we'd actually prepared a video a few weeks ago of me talking to you saying, hey, guess what? I'm actually not here. I'm on retreat. I'm praying right now. So please pray for me. But here I am, back in the parish. So I got to be honest, we're both Father Rob and I are feeling it a bit because we were really looking forward to taking some of that time. But anyway, there's no shortage of work to be done. We will get things done. And we heard from the Archdiocese that the retreat is probably going to be pushed until the fall. So we have to wait and see. But I'll tell you, in the long term, if my relationship with God is good, that's ultimately going to be good for you guys, okay? If my relationship with God is not so good, it's not so good for us. So anyway, so please pray for us anyway, even though we're not on retreat. So I have a little list here on my email, and I want to talk about this past weekend's homily. So thanks for your patience, those of you who watched live. We had a little glitch, a little accident, and we've got two people in the tech booth doing the work of five people. Brad is like operating cameras with one hand and doing slides with the other. It's amazing what those guys do. So yeah, no one was monitoring the feedback from the YouTube channel. I know you guys were saying, hey, it's too low. I can't hear. So we learned a little extra there about how, the need to monitor that. So we will do that. But Brad was amazing. He very quickly after Mass remastered the audio for the homily and sent that out. So if you want to check out that homily. And of course, it was the homily that dared to connect the question of the Trinity with financial giving. And I kind of hinted in the Mass that it's the first of several weeks where we're going to be looking at this topic. And yes, it is. We're going to be looking again at this topic this coming weekend with Father Rob and the weekend after. So stay posted for that. Thanks for all the feedback so far on the stewardship finance report, which went out by email to everyone on our mailing list. It is on our parish website. It was tweeted as well. If you're not online, it is being printed this week. We will have printed versions ready probably this time next week. We will let you know. And I hope you enjoy it. And we've had some great feedback from several parishioners so far, just saying that they appreciate the effort and work that was put into into that document, the relevant information and all of that, which is the very reason why we did it. And we hope to do this kind of thing every single year. So if you haven't been able to check that out, we will either visit our website, get on our mailing list, or be patient, and we will have a printed version very soon. Now, over the last couple of weeks, I've been speaking about new staff members. Remember, we have a staff member. Jen Dean is going to take on the role of social outreach coordinator. That was the result of a surprise donation for 1 year. And then we had budgeted to bring on a central administrative person. That's Brenda Marquez. And then Nolan Conrad is going to be doing evangelization and connection. And that's basically using money that we're going to save from not having a second priest. Now, that also creates a problem, doesn't it? But part of the solution to the lack of a second priest is the fact that the bishop, thanks be to God, and thanks to Archbishop Dunn, has assigned a deacon, and not just any deacon. Please don't tell anyone I said this, and please don't tell Deacon David I said this, but he's one of my favorite deacons. In fact, I've known Deacon David for many years. I was his pastor at St. Thomas Aquinas, Canadian Martyrs Parish, way back in 2004 through to 2010. I was blessed to see his wife, Patty, come into full communion with the church. He took Alpha, had a conversion experience on Alpha. I was able to journey with them. And when Deacon David was ordained a deacon, he was assigned to St. Benedict Parish where I was the pastor. So the poor guy can't get away from me. So he was at St. Benedict Parish for many years, and now he's been appointed by the bishop to us. He's going to be beginning on July 28th. Deacon David, guess what? He's a Cape Bretoner. I mean, I don't know about this. We're kind of racking up the Cape Bretoners on our parish team, but I think that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing. Deacon David comes from a family of 7, a very faithful Catholic family. He has been living most of his adult life in the Halifax area. He and his wife Patty have 2 children, and Deacon David loves playing golf. He's an avid golfer. He's actual. If any of you have ever played soccer, he is a very well-known soccer referee around HRM. He's the kind of referee you don't mess with. So I'm told, and well, I think that's about. Deacon David is a great man. He's an incredibly generous guy with a great laugh, and he preaches from the heart. And you're going to love this guy. I love the guy. I'm looking forward to welcoming him and his ministry in our parish. So, although, as I think I mentioned last week, although he doesn't start until July 28th, we are planning a kind of immersion experience on July 5th and 6th when the other staff members arrive, and he's going to be a part of that experience as well. Today, as we talk, the second video of our 3-part series called Mass Confusion was just released, and it talks about the theology behind the practice of offering intentions, specific intentions for masses, where that comes from. And we got quite a bit of feedback about the initial video. If you get any questions, please send them in. Please remember that, again, as I said in the video, this is about primarily the distinction between announced masses and unannounced masses. We're still going to have unannounced masses. You can still get a mass card. You can still have a mass intention offered. It's the fact that we're not going to charge $10 for someone to buy the mass. It still means that we can still pray specifically and offer mass specifically for your loved one on a particular date if you ask us to do it. It's just that we're not going to charge you $10 so that we avoid the sense that somehow one person owns the mass. So anyway, check out those videos. The final one is coming out on Friday. So it's best to watch all 3 of those together. And finally, my final point is this coming Saturday at St. Paul's Church, there's going to be a cleanup from 9 until 5:15, just so that people can come in and, pick up anything that they might want to pick up or anything that belongs to them. We have to use the day and basically schedule the number of people when they can come in to do the cleanup because of COVID regulations. And, I just want to address something because of COVID and everything that happened because of the winterization, by November last year, St. Paul's Church, the location was basically just closed down as it was. And it needed to be cleaned up anyway. But as I mentioned last week, we have a non-Catholic church group going to be renting the basement of the church and the rectory. Not the main church. The main church is going to continue to be used as a Catholic church for the celebration of the Eucharist. As soon as the pandemic lifts, we're going to be back in there for weekday Mass. But there's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen. This is not a cleaning out per se of the whole church. Again, upstairs is remaining as is. And I just want to say that this is not a kind of backhanded attempt to close the church. I mean, we kind of already went that way in November. Some folks thought we were, not being honest in closing the church. We weren't closing the church. We winterized. We're not closing the church. Now, I want to assure you, I think you know that our future in no way includes the fact that we can operate all of these buildings. We know that. We have an options committee that's been working since January, looking at the 5 options that were outlined in the New Foundation series. If you haven't watched those videos, please go back and watch them. They're on our YouTube channel. The options committee is working to present a report to me by the end of June, which we want to present to you parishioners, to the parishioners, possibly early July. before the summer break. And that basically just says, look, we've done our research. We've looked at the different options between, selling everything, building somewhere else, building a new building, whatever it is. Here's the research we've done, and here's what we believe is the option we're going for. We're going to come to the prisoners, present this recommendation, receive feedback. Then we're going to write a report to the bishop. It has to go to the bishop. He has to meet with the council of priests, and they have to approve it in principle. And when that happens, then we're going to begin a more immediate look at the consequences of this report. If it means closing particular buildings, then we have to go through another consultation process about closing those particular buildings. So please, Saturday's a cleanup. It's not an attempt to close the building. But that being said, it's partly sparked by the fact that we have this group who are going to be renting the building and taking care of the costs of the utilities. And someone, mentioned in a message to the parish, it's just about the money. Well, no, it's not just about the money, but yeah, it involves money, because guess what? This costs a fortune. As I mentioned, we have 13 buildings. We need resources, we need money, and instead of putting resources into buildings, we need to put resources into people, into the people of God. That is the only building that the New Testament knows about. St. Paul says, you are God's building. You are God's temple. Scripture speaks about the people, the baptized, as the living stones of a holy temple. The living stones, not stones of brick and mortar, but stones of flesh and blood. That's people. And that if we're going to have a future, it means we need to start putting more and more time and energy and resources into building up people, growing people. And in the meantime, we've got to try to make our buildings work for us to achieve that purpose. So that being said, I do understand that it is difficult. Of course it is. We've got affinity with particular buildings. They're soaked in memory for us. There's a sense of home there. But this is it's a time of transition and a time of change. The present leadership of the parish, we didn't create this situation. This has been unfolding for decades as a result of forces far beyond our control or influence. And so what lies to us is to make the best decisions, the most responsible decisions we can right now with the resources we have for the sake of the future God is calling us to. If you've got any hesitation about this, please put it into context, and please go back and view those 7 videos, the new Foundations videos that are on our YouTube channel. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Thanks for putting up with me, and enjoy your coffee. God bless.